Grounding at the fire level of the Wyrding Way means learning to govern your passions. This does not mean controlling your emotions. It means controlling how you choose to respond to your emotions. There's no such thing as a wrong feeling. What may or may not be wrong is how you choose to respond to your emotions. Your emotions are natural events. You cannot control what you feel, but this doesn't mean that your emotions should be out of balance with the rest of your being. It simply means that your reasons for following the Wyrding Way have their origins in your own emotional state. Imagine you are a poet or a musician, and you have a lover for whom you would like to write a song or a poem. Your love of this person is the cause of your desire to create the song. But if you allow your passion for your lover to rule you, you will be too emotional to actually create the song. Once it's written, you can use your passions to express your feelings while performing the composition. But you cannot allow yourself to be overcome with emotion while composing the piece, or you'll never be able to complete the task. This is also true of walking the Wyrding Way. The forces must always be in balance, or you may deceive yourself as to the origins and the results of your actions. If such self-deception happens, your actions have been wasted, and you will be led astray by your own ill-conceived intentions. Do not be persuaded by negative emotions. When you allow your emotions to rule you, you run the risk of being led astray. You should meditate on your reasons for wishing to use your power as one who walks in the Wyrding Way. Do not let your negative emotions trick you into taking actions that you will later regret. Always remember that every action has a reaction. Remembering this, you will not act unless you're ready to accept the consequences of your actions. To walk in the Wyrding Way is to act deliberately and intentionally, remembering that the energy you send out will return to you threefold or even 100-fold. The decision to use the magic of the Wyrding Way must always be made in the absence of emotion. This does not mean that your actions cannot have their origins in your emotional state. It simply means that when the time comes to take action, you must not do it when overwhelmed by powerful emotions. Never make such decisions when you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. To do so is to act out of emotion only, without tempering your passions. It is at these times that we are the most vulnerable to being conquered by our emotions. Do not attempt to govern your emotions by trying to make them disappear. Your feelings are a river, always flowing. Sometimes positive feelings float to the top of the river, and sometimes negative feelings float to the top. You could not ever dam up the river, even if you tried. To do so would mean putting an end to conscious awareness. But when your negative feelings are floating on the surface of the river, you can always choose not to swim in it. Instead, choose to sit on the riverbank and watch all those feelings float downstream. The feelings are still there. You have just chosen not to drown in them. You have chosen to let them drift downstream and away from you, like fallen leaves upon the surface of the water. This is the only true way to respond to negative feelings. The fire level of the Wyrding Way is the spirit of emotion. The best use of emotion in the Wyrding Way is on the battlefield, where tensions are already high, conflict is near, and some are already willing to believe anything. Suddenly appearing or disappearing before an adversary, or seemingly knowing things that cannot be known, can have a devastating effect on those who would oppress you. In many battles of old, it was said that our people were part bear, part crane, part salmon, and part wolf, because of the abilities we had to take on the attributes of each of these animals during battle. Never discount the effect appearances and assumptions have in affecting the outcome of a conflict. Remember that a battlefield in this sense is not just a field of war. It is any field where you find yourself challenged. This challenge could even be within yourself. Before acting, always remember to ask yourself if you're acting for the good of the tribe or just for your own advantage out of some feeling. This is the key to grounding at the fire level. The attitude of fire is the attitude of passion. The perfect way of emotion lies in enjoying every moment to the fullest. Properly trained and tempered, your passions will serve a warrior better than the finest steel. Until a warrior learns to journey to the void, directed passion is his greatest asset. Until a warrior takes up the way of the void, the fires of passion feed him. But you must learn to rule how you respond to your emotions, or your emotions will rule you. Know when to let your passion rule the moment, and know when to let go. The way of emotion is the way of fire. Fire is a useful tool, but one must always remember that fire can also burn you. Remembering this, you will always be grounded at the fire level. The attitude of spirit is the attitude of art. The perfect way of the spirit lies in discerning the divine spark in everything, the beauty of a sunset, the smile of a child, or a snow-covered mountainside. Know the beauty of all things in all aspects. Know that the art of war lies in the petals of a flower, and the art of lovemaking lies on the battlefield. By knowing the way of the Spirit, you shall see the deeper mysteries of life. The way of the Spirit is the way of the element of air. Just as air gives life to the body, so does art give life to the spirit. A life without beauty is mere existence and not worthy of living. Remember this, and your feet will be planted firmly while your spirit soars to the heavens. Grounding at the fire level depends upon conquering your own fears. Conquering fear doesn't mean never being afraid. It means rising to meet the challenges in spite of the fear. As you meditate on grounding at the fire level, ponder these questions. What are your greatest fears? Are any of these fears blocking your path to the enlightenment of the Wyrding Way? If so, how? How might you conquer these fears? How might you forge your will so that you will be able to take up the path of the Wyrding Way with a firm and steadfast commitment? How might you strengthen your resolve and heighten your passion to commit to the journey? Which thoughts, feelings, and habits will you have to sacrifice to be reborn into the life of the seer of visions? What is your own reason for seeking the Wyrding Way? How might your fears prevent you from walking the Wyrding Way? And how do you resolve them? Contemplate these questions. When you are able to answer them, you will have mastered the art of grounding at the fire level.